Alright, let's start by making a new scene here for the tail. So first let's make an object that can act as our tail. Select that, press G to move, Z and 1 to put up on top of the grid here. We're going to press scale and Z shift. No, scale and shift Z. There we go. There. Okay. We're going to go Control A. Apply all rotations. You do that because it'll change your scale and your location and everything like that if you don't do that, and when you export or if you try to do things, you'll start to get kind of wonky. Scale down the tip here, and then we're going to select all the no, we're just gonna Control R, bring that up, and then we're just gonna manually add a couple loops. Okay, back in object mode, we're going to rotate it on the x-axis. So you press R to rotate, X to rotate on the x-axis, Control to snap. We're going to snap over to 90 degrees so that this is facing that way is forward, so that way is back, the tail's facing back. So don't forget Control A to apply all transforms. As you can see, it now has a rotation of 90 degrees. We don't want that, we want it to be at 0. So Control A, all transforms, and then that'll be gone. Alright, the next thing is to be in object mode. Control Shift A, create an armature. Make sure that you are in edit mode, so press tab, click on the bone and press R, press X to rotate on the x-axis. Actually, we got to change our rotation method here. So medium point means it's going to rotate from the center of the object. This is kind of weird, so nobody likes to rig like that. So I like to be in individual origins, so that way it rotates from the head of the bone. So press R, press X to rotate on the x-axis, hold Control, and rotate it till 90 degrees. You can see up at the top left there, you can see where it said 90 degrees. Anyway, so let's jump into object mode, the object tab here, and turn textured to wired, and then jump over to the rig data, which is the running man, and press in front, and this way we can see our bone through the mesh. We're still in edit mode, so scale it up until it gets to the tip of the tail. Now we're going to right click and subdivide, and while they're both selected, we're going to right click and subdivide again. So now we have 4 bones, and we're going to duplicate this last bone, so Control D, and we're going to press Y so that it slides on the Y axis, and just kind of eyeball it over here. So we're going to change the names of these bones. We're going to call this one root, so press F2 while selecting the bone and type in the name that you want. And this one's going to be called DEF for deformation, and I'm just going to call it 01 for the sake of speeding this along. And DEF04. Alright, so these bones are going to control the vertices of our tail. So first, if you go into your bone properties here, you can see that the checkbox for deform is on. If it's off, they will not deform the bone. So let's check click on our root bone and let's uncheck the deformation checkbox on our root because we don't need it to deform the bone. And then as for these, they can stay on. So now let's apply the rig to the geometry to our rig. So go into object mode. So I pressed Control Tab. You move your mouse over to object mode, and now you're in object mode. You can choose between the armature and the geometry. So first choose the armature, or sorry, first choose the mesh and then the armature, and press Control P and choose with automatic weights. All right, so if we choose our armature and just press Control Tab, we'll be in pose mode, and you can see that it's deforming our tail properly. All right, that's it for part 1.